I proposed to my best friend's bully. It did not go well.
Did you propose that they stop bullying your best friend?
Beth and I have been best friends since preschool. We suffered through school together and eventually went to the same university for our undergrad. Beth had it worse in high school, being overweight and a drama geek. Allison was a mean girl, and mean she was to Beth. By the way, this comes from user Marrying the Mean Girl, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Beth and I both moved back to our hometown at different times. Beth became an elementary school teacher, and I went on to grad school. I started teaching at a local community college when I moved back. Allison married a soldier right out of high school and had 2 children with him. He was unalived in action while she was pregnant with their youngest. She moved back to our hometown and got a job at Starbucks. She's also working on getting an AA from a different community college, so an associate's. One morning on my way to work, I happened to go to Allison's Starbucks. I wasn't thrilled to see her, to say the least. She pulled me aside after I ordered and apologized for being such a wiener in high school. After a few weeks of stopping by for my morning latte, I asked her out. She was funny, kind, quick-witted, and yes, I noticed, I couldn't help it, as beautiful as ever. We've been together for a year, and she is the love of my life. I love her with all my heart, I love her children, and I've become a father figure to them both. I asked her to marry me and told her I'd like to adopt her kids. She accepted it and we were both very excited for the future, but Beth did not take this news well. She has been blasting Allison to all of our old friends, some that I had hoped to make groomsmen. Things like Allison is using me for money, which she's not. She received a large insurance settlement after her husband's passing. She does not advertise this info though, or she's only interested in me now because geeky is the new cool, that a woman that looks like that could never truly be interested in a man like me.
Oh my gosh.
Allison has apologized to Beth before, and Beth said she accepted it, but obviously she still has some bitterness stored up. Allison and I tried to be understanding because, yes, Allison was awful in high school. She deserves anger. She's the first to admit that she doesn't deserve forgiveness. Last night, Beth called me wasted and asked to talk to Allison, and it was bad.
Uh-oh.
She went off on Emily, Allison's oldest. Emily has a severe peanut allergy and has very poor vision, which requires her to wear strong prescription glasses. Beth said things like Emily is made fun of at school, she attends the school where Beth teaches, and that she gets a secret kick out of it knowing that Allison's own daughter is experiencing the same treatment Allison dished out. She said she hasn't made any moves to stop it and that this is karma for Allison's nasty youth. Beth said Emily deserves her allergy and her thick glasses and that this is what happens when an evil womb produces a child. Allison was shaking by the time she hung up on Beth. She's been sobbing all day and wants to pull Emily from that school and or report Beth and have her fired. I low-key would probably do that.
Because that's your teacher. If this is, I'm guessing it's elementary school or something, that this is happen, like how old these kids are, but I would not want my kid around a school teacher like that. Even if it wasn't my kid that was being bullied by this teacher, I would not want to mess with that teacher ever.
Yeah, it's just, I don't think, this is Michaela Sorrell's hurt people, bullies become bullies. Yeah, this is a hurt person now just like lashing out at what she feels is like justified. Beth texted me this morning that she was so sorry for the things that she said, but the damage has been done. I told Allison I was hesitant to report her, and now Allison is furious with me. I think she might call off our engagement over this. Feel like a knucklehead for not being understanding. I'm marrying the girl that tormented her in high school. That's gotta suck. But she attacked this little girl, this sweet child I've been raising as my daughter and plan to legally make my own. I don't know what to do. Should we report Beth? My gut says yes, because what kind of teacher says those things about a child? If it were anyone but her, I'd be all for it. But on the other hand, she was wasted and her best friend is marrying her bully. I'm at a loss. I mean, man, it is like a very like tightrope situation of like, it really, you could just fall in either direction, because given the context, it's like, I don't think she's bullying all the students.
Sure.
I don't think she condones bullying. I think she was really drunk. Probably was like, yeah, your daughter gets picked on and I don't even care. I like it. And like, maybe that's true about one student, which is like still not good, but like,
right.
I don't know. It's just like,
I wouldn't trust that teacher though. That's what I feel. It's like, even if Emily wasn't my kid and my kid was just in that class, I would not trust that teacher to just, I don't know, be a good influence or be able to, like, if bullying did come up, if she would stop it or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is it's like, you've said some things now where it's like, you cannot put them back in the bottle.
Yeah.
You said some things that made it sound like you're like, you just let kids get bullied.
Exactly.
Almost to a level of encouraging it.
Right. Right.
So even if it's in that one context, feels weird now because I'm adopting that kid. So that's my kid. So what? Am I not going to report you after you told me you let my kid get bullied?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
I don't understand. That's a tough one. I'd almost flip a coin. That's so hard.
Yeah, you could talk to her, but I would report her for sure.
First, talk to your kid about what their experience is like at school.
I guess so.
I guess now, if you're just finding this out, there's an edit here. Sorry guys, it's been a long day. Yep, I'm a tool. I told Allison that I was completely wrong for hesitating to report Beth. I support her 100%. Emily is our top priority here. She has already emailed the teacher this morning and plans on calling the principal on Monday. We have both blocked Beth from Facebook and our phones, and there is an update here.
Woo, let's see. Let's get on into it.
I think you're forced. Your hand becomes forced once you hear those words come out of the teacher's mouth.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who the teacher is
or
what other it's like, oh, you're just letting. You said you get a kick out of seeing my kid get bullied? Well, I hope you get a kick out of finding a new job. Update. I'm trying to hit all the talking points at once here. Sorry if I miss any. I have obviously described teenage Allison poorly. She was a butthole, mean, and snarky, but she did not actively seek Beth out to torment her. No fake MySpace pages like you heard in the news. She was just a knucklehead to the people who weren't part of her cool crowd. She was not the meanest or main antagonist by a long shot. I glossed over her apologies because I didn't think they were relevant. I can assure you that they were heartfelt and sincere. Allison has made it clear that she doesn't expect forgiveness. She just wanted us to know that her poor behavior was entirely a reflection upon her, and we never did anything to incur her wrath. Allison and Beth had a tentative friendship building up until the engagement announcement. Allison is not the same person as she was in high school. I am not the same person I was in high school. Allison had already emailed the teacher before I posted this. I think she's still a little angry that I didn't automatically join up on the burn Beth wagon, but she understands that I'm human. Beth has been a huge part of my life for years and that she is hurting. Her email didn't even mention Beth, just something like, I've heard that Emily is being picked on at school. Do you know if there's any truth to this? Allison has already asked Emily if she likes school. Yes. If kids have been mean to her. No. And if she has fun there. Yes. Emily comes home happy every day, so there's been nothing that would lead us to the conclusion that she was being bullied. Someone asked if Allison has told her kids about her being a mean girl. She has. She's made it very clear that it is never okay to hurt others, and while you may think being mean to others makes you feel good about yourself or makes others like you or think you're funny, you're hurting yourself too. No one deserves to be made to feel bad because you think it's funny. It's not funny, it's cruel. She used the feeding the good wolf/evil wolf analogy that seemed to really strike a chord with Emily. Her youngest is way too young to understand. Inside you are two wolves. One is silly and one is hungry.
I don't know that one.
Yes.
The silly and
Which
hungry
one will you
combo?
feed? Silly wolf.
Ah.
Feed the silly wolf. The hungry wolf
silly.
just is too angry. He's like, I'm hungry. Give me more food. He's like, no, I'm making a joke over here.
Ooh, I'm gonna be a little goofy guy.
Making sillies over here. As for the friends being swayed against Allison, they either don't believe it or have made it clear they don't want to be involved in the fight. Honestly, if Beth had feelings for me, yeah, I can see how that could crush her. That doesn't excuse her actions at all, though. I'm not going to feel bad about asking someone I really liked out because she was a knucklehead as a teenager. I heard the phone call. I just put Beth on speakerphone with her consent so she could talk to us both. I got a few private messages from some people that I worry might actually be Beth. You're stuck raising some passed away soldiers' kids while your C-word barista wife F's other men. I hope Beth slips Emily some peanut butter at lunch. It's wonderful to know that this mother gets to feel what my own mother felt. If it's not Beth, these are people that are projecting their own issues here. Emily is doing great, obviously better than any of you. I appreciate the kind PMs quite a bit. And by the way, you can appreciate listening to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to stories, wherever you listen to podcasts, search OK Storytime. After much thought, no matter what Emily's teacher says, we're going to the administration with what Beth said. Oh.
All right.
Emily is the priority now, not Beth, and we just can't trust Beth anymore.
Yup.
Depending on what Emily's teacher says, we may or may not give Beth a heads up. Eventually, I'd like to think we can forgive Beth, but trust her with this fragile little psyche. One and done, son. We can't risk it. Talking about their kid.
Yeah,
I assume. Emily.
absolutely.
That is the end of that story.
Woohoo! Dude, protect your freaking children from meanies like this. All right.
Yeah, dude, it's true. Think of the children. I understand that Beth's a victim of
children.
bullying, but it's like, Beth needs to work through that in a way that allows her to exist without feeling the need to revel in the bullying of another child.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
is completely innocent in the situation. So that's
Gotta end the cycle.
regardless of if that's even true or not. The fact that came out is like concerning. It's like, well, would you, even if that's not happening right now, it's like if it did happen, now I have to question whether or not you just let my kid get harassed at school or encourage it almost.
My roommate moved stuff while I was gone, so I returned the favor.
Moved all your stuff into these boxes I put outside.
I moved into this flat about 8 months ago. I met Lana online on a roommate website and we clicked well. She's a bit younger but seemed mature. We quickly agreed to be roommates. Both of us were under time constraints to find a place to live, but have gotten on really well so far. Up until this. By the way, this comes from Where's My Room? And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Our flat is a 2-bedroom, and to be frank, my room is clearly the better one. It's bigger and has built-in wardrobes. When looking for the flat, I found the place first on my own and put down a deposit to take it off the market while I found another roommate. The flat was perfect, cheap rent, and my aunt manages the property, so I was keen to snap it up before anyone else did. The area it's in is popular, so I wasn't really worried about not finding someone to room with. Because of the above and that I was there first, I took the bigger room naturally. When showing potential roommates, including Lana, around, I was sure to show the smaller room and say, this would be your room. We moved in 8 months ago and it's been happy families. Never heard Lana complain about her room because I have about 6 times the wardrobe space that she does. I told her that she's welcome to store her off-season clothes in there or whatever she wants to store as long as she's not popping in every morning to get dressed. She was happy with this. Just over a month ago, I went traveling. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of having people in my room, but I told Lana that if she had someone stay, her sister or friends from home, they could sleep in my bed. She said thanks, and as she's been such a great roommate and rarely has guests except her boyfriend, I didn't worry at all. I came back yesterday. I was exhausted from the flight and traveling and just wanted to shower and sleep. As I walked in, Lana was in the living room with her boyfriend. We said hello and hugged, had a very quick catch up, blah, blah, blah. Then I dragged my suitcase to my room, opened the door, and found it full of stuff that was not mine. I kind of yelled, "What the F?" and briefly thought that I was so jet lagged I was confused, but opened the door to Lana's room and saw all of my stuff. I walked into the living room and asked Lana what was going on, and she said, "Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. We put my stuff in your room just because it's bigger and you weren't here, and you said I could use it." I was honestly so tired I could have passed out then, so I probably wasn't in the best state, and I told her to move it all back immediately. She said they were in the middle of making dinner and I looked tired, so I should have a sleep. Her boyfriend then said, "And anyway, you pay the same rent, so isn't it fair that you both get the big room at some point?" I was getting really frustrated and could feel tears welling up, hysterical from lack of sleep. So I just said, "We'll deal with this tomorrow," and it's getting moved back. And then I went to sleep in not my room. I've woken up now and I'm so pissed off. Lana's at work, so I can't talk to her, but what should I do when she's home? I feel like this is going to turn into an argument. I don't think it'll be as simple as, "Okay, let's swap now that you're home." And edits, I've taken the advice of most people on this thread and moved my stuff back. It's taken hours and I'm knackered, but I think that if I left it another night, it would be a real problem. I sent her a text when I was almost done in case she kicked up a crap storm and came home to say, "Hi Lana, hope you're having a nice day at work. Just to let you know, I'm moving my stuff back into my room. Didn't want you coming home and walking into the wrong one. Yes, I'm petty." I'll be talking to her when she gets in because this is out of character for her to the point of it being bizarre. She's never been anything but a model roommate, so I'm going to give her a chance before we're donezo. If she wants to be reasonable and have a chat about rent portions, I'm happy to do that. She's never had a problem with rent before, and honestly, I've never had uneven rent amounts in any place I've ever lived, whether I had a bigger room or smaller room, but a lot of people here are saying it's the norm, so I'm open to talking about it if she's not ridiculous. Edit number 2, Lana should be home in a bit. I'll update when I can. And we do have an update. What do we think is going to happen? What would you predict?
I wonder if this was boyfriend's idea.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Because he dropped that weird little comment.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you guys pay the same amount of rent, so it shouldn't make sense. You should both get the big room at some point.
Yeah, like they've definitely talked about it. He definitely helped her with all of this. Would not be surprised if it was his idea from the start. But we do have an update. Hi, everyone. I've got about 1 million messages asking for an update, but last night was a bit mad and I'm still pretty jet lagged, so sorry. But I went to sleep. Anyway, here we go. So, as you know, I texted Lana to tell her I moved my stuff back. She didn't reply to me, fine, whatever, but she didn't kick off. So I figured that we're okay. I told my aunt what had happened, who was as baffled as all of you, and I told her it was probably all sorted, just keeping her in the loop. I also told my boyfriend, who works about 5 minutes down the road. He offered to come around in case Lana's boyfriend came around, but I told him not to because then we're ganging up on Lana. He insisted on going for a coffee with his mate a couple of roads away in case we needed backup, which is a bit ridiculous, but very cute of him. So I did get myself a glass of wine while waiting for Lana, not because I was nervous, I just like wine, and she came home. I was sat in the living room and gave her a very cold hi when she walked in. She sort of froze, bag in hand, and her arms darted between me and my, not her, our bedroom door. She blurted, "Did you do it?" And I said, "What? Move the rooms back?" "Yeah, of course." Her eyes went all wide and she dropped her bag and ran into the bathroom. I could hear her talking on the phone, so I was like, "Yippee, I guess Tom's coming around. Fun." I heard the door unlock and I was about to go full Hulk on how psycho she is when she came out of the door and stood between our bedrooms. Their doors are adjacent and she just stared between them both, breathing heavily.
What?
It was really odd.
What?
What is going on?
What's happening? Is she turning into a beast?
It sounds like it. Then I noticed that she was crying and getting a bit panicky, so I asked what was going on. She burst into tears and said, "Oh my God, he's going to unalive me," and just sobbed. What? Is this the boyfriend then?
Yeah, it's boyfriend. It's because the boyfriend.
So, yeah, it was the boyfriend's idea completely, as a lot of us suspected. She's honestly always been a perfect roommate, which is kind of why I came to this up. If she was generally an a-hole, I would have known how to act, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Lana has a bit of a breakdown, and it turns out that POS Tom has always been a bit of a POS, very jealous, which I always saw hints of, but Lana never mentioned, so I didn't, and has amped up his POS-ishness while I've been away. When I left, he had finished school and basically moved in unannounced. And when she'd mentioned that he hasn't been home in days, he'd give her the, "What? Don't you love me? I treat you so well. You're so selfish," blah, blah, blah crap, and refused to move. What? That's crazier than I even would think. He moved in and that's why he was like, "Oh, you should get the big room because now there's 2 of us."
Yeah, what an actual scumbag.
That's crazy. And that's just crazy that she's so freaked out about him being mad at Lana for this. Like Lana's freaked out about him being mad at her. That's not okay.
Well, yeah, unfortunate.
She showed me the text that he sent her. Absolutely horrific stuff. Things like, "Ring me in the next 5 minutes or we're over."
Okay, so we're over. Bro,
Yeah.
That's what I say. That's what you say to that. All right, we're over.
Yeah.
And then watch them go, no, wait, no, I didn't mean it.
He also would say things like, "Send me a picture of you at your desk with something showing today's date so I know you're at work."
What? I'd send him. I'd
yeah.
send him a beautiful picture of this
It's
finger.
harmful
right
stuff,
there. Just
dude.
that one.
Is that your ring finger?
Nope.
Whew.
Nope.
Not
Your
really.
index finger?
Nope. It's the one in the middle.
Ah.
Onto the room. As we guessed, he moved it. He did it while she was at work, which is actually a bit gross thinking of him going through my stuff, and I'm considering somehow implying that I have crabs or something he could catch just to make him squirm a bit, but I'll work on it. Lana came home and said, "What are you doing?" He made out it was just temporary and that I wouldn't mind. Such a gentleman speaking on my behalf, and he would move it back, and he was doing it for her, and she was so selfish. Etc. When it got a few days before I came back, Lana suggested moving it back, and he completely denied. He said that and told her that it was her idea to move it, and he only did what she told him, but it's staying now or she'd be sorry.
I don't know why, but I just immediately, the example that came into my head, like, for comparison, was like the Panama Canal.
Yeah.
America rolling up and being like, "No, Panama, you want us to build the canal." And they just are pointing every like artillery arsenal on like
Yeah.
every warship they have at Panama. They're like,
Like, right?
"You want this, right, Panama? You
Yeah.
wanted this."
You
And
wanted
Panama's
this.
like, "Yeah, we do.
Sure.
We totally do."
So basically, Tom is a prick, and Lana sobbed and apologized and cried, and I fed her wine. She didn't want to see Tom, who obviously assumed that he lived there now. So I texted him from her phone saying our landlady, my aunt, was coming around for an inspection and staying for dinner after with my family, and he couldn't come over tonight. He sent a lot of begging, whiny texts, and then went on the offensive and called Lana a liar. So I rang my aunt, explained everything, and had her write us a fake landlord email mentioning the visit and how she was looking forward to fajitas because she's an absolute babe and I make good packet fajitas, which we forwarded on to Tom. He left her alone for the rest of the night, apart from a few texts. And by the way, I hope that you never leave us alone, because you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, whatever your favorite podcast app
That's
is.
right.
Just search OK Storytime. You'll find episodes with full stories just like this one. There is a little bit more to the story. So I'm not entirely sure what we do about Tom. Lana sounds like she wants to break up, judging from her crying and screaming, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him, into her whine. I think she's scared to, though. I checked with her and he doesn't have a key, so that's a relief. I told my aunt everything and she said that she is happy to ban him from the flat, but Lana would need to break up with him first and get all that sorted. Thanks everyone for the advice. I know it wasn't the most popcorny update, but hopefully Lana will be okay. And we're going to be doing some girly crap this week and avoiding Tom. And yeah, God knows what will happen. And that is the end. Oh my goodness. So the aunt is going to ban. That is good.
Get him banned.
Get him banned.
Get him out of there. My friend refuses to accept that I don't want to date his friend. It's exhausting.
No means no, people.
Come on. I moved to a city and met a friend, Eric, who was gracious enough to bring me into his social group and help me meet new people. I have been in this city for 2 years. I travel often for work and have had a really hard time meeting anyone local, new girlfriends and men alike. By the way, this comes from user Making New Friends. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I let Eric know this after we'd gotten to know each other a bit, because I felt that people can't help you if you don't ask. I'm a pretty cool person, and I have never had trouble building and maintaining relationships with the right people, so it's really been about opportunity to meet new girlfriends. Romantically, it's a whole other issue. I've been involved in a few harmful relationships, physically, emotionally, and financially. Well, Eric decides he has his best friend who would love me. He tells his friend I look like Scarlett Johansson and sent him pictures of me. He talked me up so much to his friend, and all the while I just cringed. He literally did it right in front of me. He noticed my face and said I should just be open to possibilities. Now, I was immediately uninterested in meeting this friend because I just met Eric and really wanted to build some platonic friendships. Throwing in blind date setups was just a bad idea. This was before Eric described his friend to me. I model for a living, so I work out a lot and have to stay in shape most of the year, and I'm 5'8", barefoot. I also own my own tech company that's been quite successful. I'll be leaving the modeling industry to run it full-time soon. In a man, I prefer someone fit, who has a runner's build and at least 5'8". That's my sweet spot. I'll never get hit on by men who meet that description. I'm constantly hit on by men who are pushing 5'5", and I'll never understand it. However, I digress. Eric told me his friend was super sweet, but was unlucky in love because of his weight. He's about 300 pounds. Eric said that he thought I would be great for his friend because I was beautiful, ambitious, and could help him lose weight. At this point, I just really felt like nothing I wanted was being taken into consideration. 1, I had already told him I didn't want to be set up. 2, he never asked me what type of man I was attracted to know that I would not be attracted to his friend. It was all about what I could offer his friend, who I had no interest in dating, and consistently made that very clear. Once again, I was being asked to bring everything to the table in exchange for some male companionship. I could be his friend's ambitious Scarlett Johansson with the great personality, in Eric's words, and help him get into shape. We all got together as a group and went out, and it was a great time. Eric's girlfriend was super sweet and also a model, so I chatted with her more. Eric's friend was there, and he's genuinely an amazing person. He's very nice, and I'm sorry he's had issues with dating because of his weight, but I'm just not attracted to him. Eric won't let it go. He makes comments about me keeping an open mind, etc. Here's my thing. I am tired of entering into relationships with men and overlooking important things such as looks. I feel like women are constantly asked to do this, and I'm sick of it. In the past, I'd done it on my own, just thinking I could get past not being attracted to them. The men who mistreated me were all very nice at first, and because of that, I looked past not being attracted to them because they offered companionship and seemed kind. No! Attraction is important, and newsflash, there are plenty of not conventionally attractive men who are insane a-holes. The men I've dated in the past have not been my type, but because they pursued me, I thought that meant they were genuinely interested in me and not what I just have to offer. I don't know where society got the idea that men who are overlooked because of looks automatically have hearts of gold. I shouldn't have to compromise on attraction just to meet a decent romantic partner. No one should. I'm not looking for George Clooney, for God's sake. I'm pissed that Eric sees what all I could potentially bring to the table for his friend in exchange for his friend's kindness. Why does he only see me as being good enough to be a fixer for his friend? again, telling me to keep an open mind. I'm not asking anyone to come to the table and fix me and my issues. I get that Eric is coming from a loving place for his friend, but it's not a fair place for me. Problem is, I really like all these people as friends, but if Eric keeps this up, his friends' feelings are going to get hurt, and I'm afraid I'll get booted out of the group. It's taken me so long to meet people I connect with here, and this is what happens? How do I make Eric back off and keep these friends? Help. There's an update. First, I should mention that while I met Eric 2 years ago in this new city, he is not a model, but he does work in the industry. I'm trying really hard not to be obvious because everyone involved uses Reddit. We worked on one of my shoots together, and the owner of the video production company later randomly called me and asked if he could take noodle photos of me. Naturally, I wouldn't be able to tell a soul, including his wife, because this was a secret hobby of his. I told that guy my answer was a hard no and never heard from him again. I sat on that disturbing situation for a while, then one day told Eric. His response was an underwhelming, everybody has their issues. So I followed up with him. I just think you should know, in case you're introducing models to him for networking purposes, you know what he's capable of. Eric responded with a flat thanks. Eric didn't know the production company owner. They met on the set of my shoot. So I don't know, we aren't friends from way back, but I expected some sort of loyalty, at least in his response. I wasn't expecting him to say, I'll never work with the guy, but he couldn't have cared less. Eric continued to make comments about setting me up with his friend, to which I continued to make clear I was uninterested. Then finally, we all got together for brunch. At one point, Eric and I were left at the table alone, and I said, all right, let's talk. I wanted to schedule a shoot a couple of months out that he would be involved in. He immediately assumed I wanted to chastise him about continually suggesting I date his friend. I said, no, that's not what I was intending to discuss, but to reiterate, your friend is a great person and I'm no way interested. That was the last time he brought it up. So I felt he had the ability to be reasonable if pressed, but certainly pushed boundaries. One night we were playing card games and I started to notice that he seemed annoyed with everyone all the time. He seemed incapable of being challenged, even in the slightest ways. Often pouting. He'd get up, throw his head back, and leave the table, etc. His wife was constantly apologizing to him for things that didn't seem like offenses. At one point, he got up, left the table, and she said sorry to him. No kidding. 5 times in rapid succession. As she was apologizing to him for one of his imagined slights, her friend piped up and said, you don't need to apologize. And now the Category 5 crap storm. She had been friends with this guy for longer than she knew her husband, so that was my signal something was up. I didn't know them to comment on their relationship. They just got married, so they could literally be driving each other up a wall. However, the friend's response let me know that perhaps this wasn't first-year marriage problems. This was after another outing where he was flat out being mean to her. When she walked away, he said she was having an anxiety fit. Didn't seem that way to me. Anyone would be frazzled by their significant other being a knucklehead to them in public. I noticed that aside from the one friend of hers piping up for her, his other friends just sort of sat there quietly. If you haven't noticed, I don't easily develop opinions about things. Being a model means that people perceive you as and treat you as an idiot constantly. I've endured my fair share of false perceptions, so I try to feel people out until they hang themselves. Fast forward to the 4th of July. We're up on the rooftop and the sun was beaming. I was wearing a shirt dress with a sports bra and running shorts underneath. I pulled down the top of my dress and tied it around my waist. So imagine I'm sitting in a sports bra with a bunch of clothes tied around my waist. At some point, we started discussing Marvel Comics, a mutual interest of ours. I commented on how I was tired of the franchise not developing Storm and Rogue's storylines. He then awkwardly chimed in that if women wanted to be perceived differently, they needed to change the way people saw them and manage the T and A. It was the most random, irrelevant, and ridiculous thing I'd ever heard. Everyone else just got quiet and looked at him. I challenged him. I told him that Wolverine runs around entire movies with no shirt on at all, so what was his point? He then made another bizarre comment of, everyone has to do their part. If I know a friend is a heavy drinker, I'm not going to put booze in front of him. I asked, so you're saying that men are addicted to women's bodies and as a result are helplessly incapable of controlling themselves and their own actions. So instead, the woman is responsible for managing the oppression. He repeated, everybody has to do their part. It's not fair, but that's how it is. This went on before I realized it was idiotic and I was done with the conversation. His wife sat quietly. Everyone did. At that moment, I knew I would never be close friends with him. In my opinion, I felt he had revealed himself as a misogynist, and it made perfect sense that he felt he could set me up with his best friend, where I would be bringing the majority of the benefits to the table. As a side note, he is obsessed with being right and sounding intellectual. If you make a counter argument, he will smirk, look down and to the left, as if you're the biggest idiot. I recently got into gaming as a way to manage the mental stress of growing my business. They all game as well. Recently, we were playing online, and Eric threw a fit while we were losing a game. I told him all the things he said we were doing wrong. He was doing himself as well. He got louder, and I got louder. I will not be spoken over by some guy who I feel is loud and wrong all the time. Then he said, "You're new to the group, so you don't know this, but I don't like being talked to that way." Oh dear, I have definitely noticed. Again, everyone got quiet. His best friend was also playing with us and said to him regarding the game, "Eric, you seem to be the only one who feels this way." To which Eric responded, "Well, make me not feel this way."
Yes, because the world revolves around you, Eric.
I'll make you not feel this way. I'll make you not feel anything at all anymore.
Eric's best friend said, "I don't know how to not make you not feel this way." Eric went into full pout mode and would not speak. Anyone familiar with gaming knows that if you get into a game against other people, you have to commit, lest you get a deserter penalty. Well, Eric didn't commit on his end, and we all got a deserter penalty because he had to go use the restroom. He didn't bother saying a word in advance. He just left. When he came back, someone asked why we got a deserter penalty, and his best friend struggled to explain why because he was trying to avoid just saying what Eric did. My final realization was that this guy, over time, has conditioned his friends and family to walk on eggshells around him. I'd had enough. We all ignored his pouting and kept playing. So I'm back on the friendship market. I won't be proactively trying to hang out with him. Although I do find everyone around him wonderful, I suspect none of them would be friends with me anyways if he caused enough of a stir about it. Sorry, I'm exhausted while typing this, so please forgive me for not including each Redditor's name. Regarding meeting friends, the subreddit suggested meetup groups, which I've tried, but we'll give it another go. I had another person comment that they were surprised I was having trouble dating in tech. I can't explain it more beyond most of the men in this exact niche of the tech industry are much, much older and married, so this particular part of the industry isn't bustling with dating options for me. But by the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this if you hustle and bustle your way on over to Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. I had a Redditor comment that she too encountered many bad apples because of her looks as well. She had to learn that many ways that these men were asking her out seemed harmless or even romantic, but were quite the opposite. Her comment was so dead on for me that I copied it to my computer to look at every now and then as a reminder. I also want to reiterate that dating is not a priority for me right now. I truly am focused on building platonic friendships here so that I can find some balance. And to clarify, I work with Eric in the modeling industry. My soon-to-be full-time business is in tech and completely separate. It's just that someone asked why I couldn't find a date in that field, so I mentioned it. Sorry for the confusion. And that is the end of that story.
Well, that does make it difficult. If they're in the same industry, they might not have to cross paths. But if they're like working with the same people and stuff, then it's like even if she like uninvites him to things, she is still gonna have to see him. Gonna suck.
I think if you want to go the friend politic route, you just go, maybe start another group chat and be like, "Are we rocking with Eric?
Yeah.
Are we really rocking with Eric though?" Like,
yeah.
Dude, it's so liberating when all of the friends are like, you're talking to your friends and you're like, yeah, like I didn't really like what so and so did, and they're like, yeah, I also didn't like what they, and you're like, you both not like this person.
Yeah, that's the end.
that is the end of that story.
And silly old Eric.